Hey everyone, this is Rob Ryder. Sunday, May 6th, 2012. Been a while since I've done one of these. I've had a lot of things happening the last couple weeks. I could talk about those, but I'd rather talk about this first. This is what a check looks like in America. And so up here is you, and then here's where a date goes in. So the upper left-hand corner is you. Then there's a place for a date. Then a place to pay to the order of. And then the dollar peso sign, whatever that happens to be, in a box. But that's a symbol of a dollar. Then we have another line here, blank line with dollars with an S. Could be important. Any bank USA, some institution will be on there. And then a memo spot. And then a line where you would sign. And for those who don't know, this line actually says something like authorized representative. If you look at it with a magnifying glass, it's not a line, it's authorized representative. Or to that effect. And then the routing, checking, and the check number. Okay. What the hell's all that mean? Let's go find out. So, a signature for a drawer was required to authorize a check, and this is the main way to authenticate the check. So the signature is the main way to authenticate the check. Second, it became customary to write the amount in words, as well as in numbers to avoid mistakes and make it harder to fraudulently alter the amount after the check had been written. It is not a legal requirement to write down the amount in words. I say again, it is not a legal requirement to write down the amount of words. That was just customary. Something that, maybe you were told to do and never really understood why. And like most things, we just do what they tell us. They like us, don't leave any blanks empty. Although we never told you had to do it. Although some banks will refuse to accept checks that do not have the amount in both numbers and words. So some banks may not. So the interesting thing is, who's the bank? Well, so the number one is the drawee, the financial institution, the bank, where the check can be presented for payment. Well, that would be you. First Bank of Wiki. It doesn't say the name of a bank. It just says, this is a WikiLink thing. So the First Bank of Wiki. Robert Allen Rutluski. Number two is the payee. Who are you going to write it to? 3 is the date of issue. 4 is the amount of currency. And 4 is what's in the box, the amount of currency. 5 is the drawer. All right, so who's actually writing the check out? Well, wouldn't that be you if it was your check? So are you the drawer from your own bank, the drawee? 6 is the signature. Line under the name, again, that line under the name says authorized representative or similar. And 7 is the machine-readable routing information. They don't seem to have any number where you write the number in. Well, that's funny. Let's keep going. So in 4 is the currency. Well, what is currency? In economics, currency refers to the generally accepted medium of exchange. These are usually the coins and banknotes of a particular government, which comprise the physical aspects of the nation's money supply. And again, this is small n nations. They're talking about you. The other part of the nation's money supply consists of bank deposits. Well, okay, so sometimes we deposit money. That's other money. The other part of a nation's money supply consists of bank deposits. So one part is your bank notes, the other part is your bank deposits. Ownership of which can be transferred by any means of check, debit cards, or other forms of transfer. Okay, so in either case, either your bank notes which makes up your money supply, or your bank deposits, you can transfer on a check. Well, so this one was the currency. Box 4 is the currency. So that is the bank notes. And where you write it out then is bank deposits, deposit money. Got two different kinds of money going on here. Seems like this is a dual-use check. Seems like you could not write this part in and still be doing number 4, since it's not a legal requirement to write down the amount in words. Now, of course, the interesting thing in America, right? This is dollars with an S. Well, dollars is a weight of silver. A dollar is legal tender. But dollars is a weight of silver. These are two different things. This legal tender with the dollar sign is not the same as the written out number of dollars, because dollars is a weight of silver. So it says here, deposit money and currency are money. Well, again, what was the currency? Just writing a number in the box is the currency. That's the amount of currency. This here, 100 pounds, is deposit money. That's what you actually deposited into a depository that you think is the bank, and as we'll see, they're just a depository. They're holding your stuff. The bank is up here that the currency is being drawn off of. It's the one at the top. It's you. It's your bank. You're a nation. You have all the offices of a nation. By gosh, you have a national bank. It's you. Did I tell you it's not a legal requirement to write down the amount in words? Well, apparently it isn't. So in this book, Business Law Case Method, by these gentlemen here, the essential elements of a check. A check must be drawn upon a bank or banker. Joni Hancock, bank, banker. There must be an unconditioned, it must contain an unconditional order to pay. Pay to the order of. Unconditional. Pay it to the order of. It must be payable on demand. The payee must be named therein, or it must be payable to bearer. So, okay, it has to have pay to the order of, and be made payable to the payee or to bearer. However, it frequently happens that a check may be made payable to the order of cash, or to the order of bills payable. In either case, the instrument is payable to bearer. So, I used to write checks and put cash on and go on and cash it myself. That would be made in cash, payable to bearer. So, if I was to pay to the order of bearer, cash, as you see, you can even put your own name in here and a number here, and left this number blank, and then signed it down here, and use this transmitting depository to get it to my bank, they would give me the legal tender that I put in this box. Or we're going to find out if they will. In either case, the instrument is payable to bearer, or the other space for the payee's name may be left blank, or the space for the payee's name may be left blank, in which case the pay is payable to bearer or to any holder as implied authority to insert his own name. Well, I'm holding it, I can insert my name. A check must be payable in money. And again, we know that money is either deposit money and currency are both money. Two different kinds. What is money? Well, it's gold, silver, or some other precious metal. But for many purposes, banknotes, a check, and negotiable notes will be so considered. Guess they're money also. So anyways, in my opinion, a check is a dual-use instrument, just like a Federal Reserve note. Good for all public and private debts. The thing is, a corporation is only looking for dollar. The money sign and a number. Go look at your bills. They're all, even your mortgage, they want you to pay them in a dollar sign with a number. It doesn't say $100. It just says, in words, it just says 100 with a money sign in front of it. What you're doing is you're donating your gold and silver because they can both be considered money. That isn't one that the corporation's asking for. I mean, for God's sakes, corporation can't use dollars. They can only use fiat. So when you put this on the dollar sign here, or on the dollars line, when you write it out, and you put a number in here, it's going to draw it out of both accounts. And you just donated them this number on the dollars line. Now you've just deposited it with somebody else. So your electric bill, any place that you've ever sent a check that has an account number is now one of your deposits. You have dollars and gold and silver deposited there. You have all these deposits all over the place. But that dollars is the one that goes to the place it's on deposit, right? So that's the limiting factor. If you only have $500 on deposit and you put $600 here, well, then they can't honor the check. Didn't matter if they could honor this one, they can't honor this one. They can't honor the one with the dollars sign because you didn't have enough dollars on deposit. Didn't have enough dollars of gold on deposit. But had you not put anything in this dollar sign, then the depository would not have taken it out of there. It would have just gone to this bank to take out the legal tender. And, back in the day, they used to return your checks to you. Think about that, because we'll get to that in a minute. And again, it's not a legal requirement to write down the amount in words. So I sent out two of them yesterday, power company and phone bill, I think it was. So in one of them, I took this, not a legal requirement to write down the amount in words, and that's what I put on the dollars line. And I put a one line through the dollars. On the other one, I just put a one line through the whole thing. So they should have them in a couple days. I should know real quick. What I don't expect to see is any change in my bank account where the deposit is, any Bank USA. But what I do expect to see is that the debt has been paid. And so when I go to the account that shows that there's a debt, the debt won't be there anymore. Okay. So anyways, legal tender. And where do we leave off here? For many purposes, bank notes, negotiable notes, checks will also be considered money. Guess what? We got more than one kind of money. On the other hand, coins made of gold or silver may not necessarily be legal tender if they are not fiat money in the jurisdiction where they are preferred as payment. Right? Well, in America, gold and silver isn't fiat, that's the lawful money. So it isn't considered legal tender. It's considered money, it just isn't considered legal tender. If they're not fiat money in the jurisdiction where the preferred is payment. The United States Coinage Act, 1965, says United States coins and currency, coins and currency, including Federal Reserve notes, circulating notes, and Federal Reserve Bank and national banks. So the Federal Reserve has theirs. Those are the ones we carry in our wallets. We have ours. It's the check you're going to fill out, and you're going to create the currency. Our legal tender for all debts, public charges, foreign gold, silver, is not legal tender for debts. Gold and silver are lawful money in the United States and are therefore not legal tender. I guess that's my point. But currency is considered legal tender, and what was currency? It's whatever you wrote in this box. That's the currency. A banknote, often known as a bill, paper money, or simply a note, is a kind of negotiable instrument or promissory note made by a bank payable to the bearer on demand, used as money. That's all you're doing. You're making up a negotiable instrument. A check's a negotiable instrument. Legal tender is a medium of payment allowed by law or recognized by a legal system to be valid for meeting the financial obligation. Paper currency is a common form of legal tender in many countries. So when you put the number in here for legal tender, you've just created paper currency. This is a dual-use bill. It's just like a Federal fucking Reserve note. On the right-hand side of a Federal Reserve note on the face, it may say $100 written out. On the left-hand side, it will have a number 100. One side's a number, the other side's the words written out. Dual-use bill. So is this one. This is a dual-use bill. And they say that most of the Federal Reserve notes, or their value, there's only like 4 or 5% that's in circulation. The rest is being held in reserve. Well, why is that? We keep blaming the bankers. No, go pull some out. Put the damn number in here. Go pay off your mortgage. They're looking for a number. They're not looking for words. I'm not telling anybody to do this shit, but, yet, just think about it. Now, I've already sent a couple out. So the other thing you could do then is you can fill this out and put it in for cash, or put your name in here, go to your bank and have them put money in your deposit account. You don't have any money, like me? That's step 2, right? I want to see if step 1 works. Now, I emailed the Inspector General of the Treasury on Friday, and I'm asking him if I can do this. Well, that I can do it. What I'm asking him, is there any easier way for me to do it than this? And that I'm sending a couple of out to utilities and so forth. So if I haven't heard from him within 72 hours, I'm going to assume he agrees with me. So the bank calls me with a problem, or the utility company asking about the question me about the check. I'll say, well, I left a message with the Inspector General of the Treasury, and apparently he agrees with me. So if you have a problem with it, put it on an affidavit under penalty of perjury, or consider yourself paid. Traditional banknotes have largely been replaced by national banknotes. Those are the ones you make, issued by governments or central banks. You are the government. Central banks are the Federal Reserve. You're the government. Everything else is a corporation. You're the government of your nation. National banknotes usually have legal tender status and are accepted at face value without discounting. National banknotes for Western countries have historically the backing of gold and silver, or sometimes both. However, most of today's national banknotes have no backing in precious metals or commodities, have no value, only by fiat. They have no value except for fiat. Remember, we live in a pretend world. You're an immortal living soul in the image of God. You're given an earthen vessel to travel around in, to live in a dream. You can have your own dream. You can make your own dream. Right? You can either act like them, or act like a peaceful man and take what you need to live peacefully. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how I think we get out of the system and get recognized by the United Nations, very simply using their forms, 3-line forms that basically all you need to do is ascend by acknowledging peace treaties. But that's for the next one. Let's finish this up. Fiat money is money that derives its value from the government, regulation, or law. The term derives from Latin, meaning let it be done, it shall be, as such money is established by government decree. So when you sign this at the bottom, right, this is a bill of exchange. It's the same thing they're getting you to do when you go to court, right? Well, you're going to do it for your benefit, because you're going to put yourself as the payee or to pay off one of your debts. But, when you put this down here, when you put your name, it's by decree. Where fiat money is used as currency, the term fiat currency is used. And again, it's not a legal requirement to write down the amount in words. Now, this was in the Michigan Judiciary Act. My God, we're going to get in trouble, man. What are they going to do when they come after us? Well, this section here, this is what they would do. In addition to applicable penal sanctions, a person who makes, draws, or utters, or delivers a check, draft, or order for payment of money upon a bank. All right, so remember, here's the bank. We're talking about the guy that's doing this down here. Going to be the drawer. Okay. Upon a bank or other depository. And again, the depository is any bank USA. That's where you make your deposits at. They're your depository. You have a bank. So the depository is what you think is a bank, or person, firm, or corporation that refuses to honor the check, draft, or order for lack of funds or credit. All right, two different things, funds or credit. To pay, or because the maker has no account with the drawee. Because the maker, and this is the maker, where you assign your name, has no account with the drawee, or no relationship. What word do they use here? Has no account with it. Well, sure you do, because this is you up here. It's your property. You're the authorized representative. It says so underneath your line, underneath your name. You just didn't know it. I know that a lot of people did, but most people don't know that it says authorized representative. You're the authorized representative for this bank. Joan E. Hancock. Okay, is liable for the amount of the dishonored check, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so how could it be a dishonored check? Well, if there weren't any funds or credit. Well, what are funds? Funds are cash on hand. Cash in commerce is money on hand. Money, for many purposes, banknotes, a check. All right, so you have funds. What you may be short on is the credit. All right, because you put on deposit gold and silver with the bank. And when you're writing this out, right? If you fill both of these out for the same amount, the limiting factor is the dollars with an S. If you don't put down the gold and silver, then because you're giving them a paper, when you put in a deposit, it's like a paper receipt for the gold. Right, so if now you want to pull out your gold, well, you can only pull out as much gold as you have a receipt for. If you try to take more, you're stealing. So a depository, a place where something is deposited as for storage or safekeeping. Repository, a trustee, a depositary. It's a bank. The thing you think is a bank is a frickin' depository. It's where you take something to deposit. So there's no way for this check to be dishonored if you do it correctly, because you're just going to take it out of your bank, the account that everybody wants to get into, that we don't seem to be able to find a way. We're looking for special cards and like an EFT. I don't think an EFT is wrong. Just don't write in the frickin' number. Don't write out the word. But you wouldn't need to do an EFT. The reason you can draw off that old account is because all those accounts go to your central bank. You just don't have any gold or silver on deposit with them anymore. So they're just acting like you're transmitting utility when you're trying to get into your fiat, and then they're acting as the depository when you're placing your gold in there. A drawee, and that's you, a person to whom the bill of exchange is addressed or who is requested to pay the amount of money therein mentioned. Okay, so Where's it addressed to? It's addressed to your house. Person or bank, where's it addressed to? Well, it's addressed to your house. The drawee, again, you, may be only one person. There may be several persons. The drawee may be a third person. Or a man can draw, be the drawer. He can draw a bill on himself. So that's saying that you can write your name in here as the paid of the order of. You can draw a name on. You can draw against yourself. The drawee, okay, you should accept or refuse to accept the bill at the furthest within 24 hours after presentment. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to mail the check to you. And as long as you keep it, everybody's happy. If you don't return it, you've accepted it. The system worked. The crazy-ass system they have set up at Fiat Money. So, they used to return your checks to you. I mean, they don't do it now. But it doesn't matter. I'm not going to refuse the damn thing when it shows up. So what do I care? Send it to me or not. I'm not refusing it. Because it's not a legal requirement to write down the amount in words. And circulating medium. By this is understood whatever is used in making payments as money, banknotes, or paper, which passes from hand to hand payments of goods and debts. Money. Money, money, money. So are you a sovereign nation state? Let's find out. This is out of Law of Nations, subchapter 4. What's a sovereign state? Every nation that governs itself, under what form soever. Okay, every nation that governs itself. Well, what's a nation? In Latin, it means to be born. So to be born and govern yourself makes you a sovereign nation state. Now, several sovereign and independent states may unite themselves together by perpetual confederacy, without ceasing to be each individually perfect state. They will together constitute a federal republic. Well, that's what the United States of America is, in my opinion. The United States of America, all the United States together in the nation of America form a federal republic, where we're each independent sovereign nation states. And I was on the Secretary of State's website. Really, you got to do a 3 or 4 line acknowledgement. Well, really, there's just one line that I, Robert Allen Rutluski, tell you, Secretary of State, that I am not a United States citizen. Because we all have dual citizenship right now. We're all American nationals, and we're all United States citizens. Well, not all. Some have been smart enough to get out. But if you're not a United States citizen, you're not under the democracy. You're in the republic. And if that isn't good enough and you want to get out of that republic, you can just go to the United Nations and leave the American Republic. So whatever way I need to do it to get diplomatic immunity is the way I'm going to do it. But in the meantime, if you got some bills to pay, apparently it's not a legal requirement to write down the amount in words. And so when you put that number in here and you sign here, it's going to go to this bank up here at number 1, which is you. And as long as you accept it, everybody's happy. So don't complain that they send you the check. Okay, I'm going to leave it at there. Think about it, guys. Like I said, I've sent a couple out. We'll see what happens, right? So again, what I expect to happen is nothing to happen to my bank deposit account. I didn't put anything in that line. But I do expect to see the bill amount to be paid. That works. I'm going to go down and talk to my banker. But somebody may have something they need to handle on Monday. Ask them how much the bill is. Look at it. Write the number in there in box 4. Don't put anything on the line. Don't write out the words. Sign it and give it to them. You've been paid in legal tender. You know why? Because it's not a legal requirement to write down the amount in words. I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Good luck. See ya.